Hello everyone! We are currently in the midst of new Steven Universe episodes airing, which recently has been pretty rare. And the first two episodes of what I believe to be Season 3 have generated quite a few questions. One thing I wanted to discuss was
the cluster.
As a quick recap, the cluster is a huge force gem fusion composed of millions of gem shards from former crystal gems that is located in the Earth's core. It was pretty much built up to be this Earth-destroying object if it ever had the chance to emerge and take a physical form. But as with most things so far in the show, Steven saves the day, and this problem was solved by getting the cluster to bubble itself. Yet Peridot mentions the cluster many times, so to some this would seem as slightly disappointing that the problem was solved so quickly. After all, it looks so peaceful now. I mean, how could anything ever happen to it? Well, my guess is that we're not done with the cluster. It may not return for a bit, but I am betting that eventually it will come back into the spotlight. This brings me to speculating about the cluster's future, so let's begin. There are three interesting possibilities for what the cluster could become. The first is that the cluster leaves the Earth's core and becomes a real fusion. After all, it is in a bubble, which can be teleported. And once it is teleported, all of the gem shards can fuse together to become one huge, awesome, although very strange looking, gem fusion. There are some problems with this outcome, however. First off is, where would the cluster go if it was removed from the center of the Earth? It is huge, and we know that if it ever did take form, it would be larger than the Earth, which would definitely create a problem. In addition, there could be some bad effects to the planet if the cluster ever leaves the Earth's core. Unless a way to take the cluster out without damaging the Earth is found, of course. So while it'd be a happy ending that the cluster could be its own gem, I don't see this as a very likely outcome. Next up is that the cluster and the Earth become one. Think of it like when Lapis is stuck in the mirror. The cluster could perhaps control the Earth in some ways, just like Lapis's gem had an impact on the mirror. This would make the Earth conscious, and it would be able to defend itself from Homeworld's inevitable invasion. I see this as a much more plausible outcome, where the cluster can remain where it currently is. But if the cluster must leave Earth's core, it may be because of this third possible outcome. And if there's one gem that would be willing to interfere with the cluster, it would be Jasper. At first, it seems like a totally viable option. After all, Jasper literally fell into the Earth. If we never see her again, it would be totally strange. And if she manages to get to the cluster, or falls right on top of it, she can interfere with it and perhaps fuse with it, or simply activate it again. There are a lot of possibilities here. But the thing that is holding me back from seeing this option as the most likely is the fact that Jasper would never end up anywhere near the cluster. Think about it. Jasper fell into the ground while she was on Mask Island, a place nowhere near the cluster. And the cluster is at the center of the Earth, where it took Steven and Peridot a long time to even get there with a specialized drill. I do not think Jasper could make it all the way down there, and she would probably not survive all the way to the core. I will talk about Jasper more in a later video discussing what may alternately happen to her in the future. So those are three options that have the most possibility to them, although only one is really suitable for any kind of good outcome in my opinion. The cluster is a very interesting aspect of the show, so I really do hope it makes a return eventually. That's all I have on this topic for now, but stay tuned for more videos about the episodes airing in the next few weeks. I also have a Star vs. the Force of Evil video coming up as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. The artwork in this video was by James, who goes by MrHaliboot on DeviantArt and Tumblr. If you want to get your art featured in one of my videos, I posted the rules in the description below. Thanks for watching!